Now, the first thing I want to do, where I want to begin, is just with what we did yesterday, because I kind of gave you an explanation, but I sort of stopped short of, and I realized this when people ask me questions later, just showing you, okay, what are the steps to go through when you just want to work out the answer, okay? So if you remember, there were two main shapes, two main prisms that we were after. The first one was the rectangular prism. Okay, so we won't dwell on this too long. I just want to double check that you're okay with the working and how you set this out. Okay, question? Well, we're going to be on page 218 shortly, but that's when we get into today's stuff. I just want to tidy up from yesterday. Okay. Now, rectangular prism. Okay, you're always going to get 3 dimensions for a rectangular prism. So here's a rectangular prism. Okay. Yeah. Question. Now, with regard to drawing, it's a very good question. Do you have to draw them? You don't have to, but I mean, like just personally, and I'm a maths teacher, I find it so much easier when I've got a drawing there, even if it's not beautiful, like it's got the right measurements on there, I find it a lot easier to understand and get the right answer. Okay, so in that way, I guess the choice is yours. Do you have to draw a diagram? No, I think it really helps. Now, on this rectangular prism, rather than put numbers like 2, 3, 4, 5 or something like that on here, I'm going to be very, very general about it, okay? So I'm going to call this front one B for breadth, okay, that's how broad it is. This one going off into the distance, I'll call that L for length. So there's one distance there, and another distance there, okay? Yes? Yeah, okay, so now we're going to get onto volume in a second, but let me, you said height, so let me put height on there. Question?
Do you want me to turn on your recorder, the recording device?
Pretty sure it's on.
It's already on.
Is it?
Yeah.
Cool. Now,
Keep that.
if I wanna learn what the surface area is, remember, that's how I can get all of the faces all added up together, okay? So let's just have a look at the 3 faces that we can see on this side, right? For instance, this one here in the front, that's going to be breadth times height, right? So I'm doing surface area here, right? So I'm going to have h times b. That'll give me this one, okay? But then there's one on the back. Remember we talked about this, right? So if I put my dotted lines in, you've got that one over there, and it's exactly the same. So I'm going to get 2 of them, okay? All right, now let's have a look at this side that's facing the right, okay? Or that way, right? So it's L units this way, and how tall is it? It's h tall, right? Whatever unit that might be, centimeters, meters, whatever. Okay. So if I want to work out that face there, it's going to be h times L. But just like this face, there's 2 of them, right? So I'll say 2 of those. Now there's one last one. We've done this one. We've done this one. I suppose we should do the top or the bottom. They're the same, aren't they? Okay. So the bottom, for instance, is B times L. It's still another rectangle. Okay. So I'll say B times L. But just like every other face, there's 2 of them. Okay. So there we go. Now, if you remember back to when we were doing algebra, because you've got 2's here, everything's multiplied by 2, so you can just write 1, 2 out the front and put brackets. And that way you don't have to double everything, you can just do it all in one hit. There you go. There is the surface area of a rectangular prism. Done. Okay? So if you get given a question, right, and they give you actual numbers here, like 2, 4, 7, something like that, okay? All you need to do is put the numbers in the right spots. That's all. Okay? Quickly, let's revise the triangular prism, which was the other 3D shape we were looking at. Okay, so let me just draw one. So let's see here. Yeah, I'm going to do it this way. Okay. Actually, let me just look back at the kinds of examples you've got. I'm just thinking to myself. 3, 4. Are they all equilateral is the question I'm thinking of. They are, aren't they?
So
yeah, they are.
Isosceles.
Are some isosceles? Which ones?
No, the isosceles.
No, yeah, later on. So let's just think of, if this triangle on the front, I think they're mostly equilateral. Okay, so I guess this would be an equilateral triangular prism. I'll let you have a think about what would happen, what would change if it wasn't equilateral. Okay. But anyway, there's the front face. And if we draw some lines out like that, there's the rest of it. And I guess in the back there. Okay, so there's my triangular prism, right? Now I'm going to approach it in much the same way. I need some measurements though, don't I? Just like here I had 3 measurements, I'm going to have 3 here, right? So I'm going to call them very similar ones. I'm going to call this one, again, B, but this time B for base, because that's what we usually say in a triangle. What else do we need to work out the area? We'll need that height there, right?
And length.
Okay, so you've got this height here, but it's kind of important that it's perpendicular. So draw in a little right angle there so you know it's a perpendicular height. And then I think we said length. Good, all the way along. Okay, good. Now, we're trying to do surface area, right? So just like before, we'll take them one step at a time. Okay, so surface area. Now, it's a triangular prism, so let's start with the triangle, right? Right in the front here, okay? There's a base, there's a height, what's the area?
Base times height.
Now, for a triangle, it's base times height on 2, isn't it? Right? But how many triangles are there
2.
to do the surface? There's 2. There's one on the front and one on the back. Yeah? So it's actually 2 times, and you'll see those will cancel in a second. Okay? Now, we've done the triangles. What other kinds of faces do we have?
Rectangle.
Yeah, so I've got one. I should do it in a different color. Okay? I got one from this side, and then one on the bottom. Okay, so I've got 3 of these rectangles. Right? So 3 times, now, what's the area of each of the rectangles?
Length
times height.
Now, there's going to be length involved, right? Because the rectangle needs that length there. But if you, for example, if I just drew the base, the bottom part, right? It would look like this, wouldn't it? You see, I've just taken that part, ignoring the rest of the lines. Now you've got B this way, and you've got L this way, right? So what's the area of that rectangle? Yeah, that's right. LB, right? Now here's the useful thing, and this is why I was fluffing around as to whether it's equilateral or not, right? Because all of these sides are equal there, right? That means this is the same as the base, right? And so is this. All the rectangles, all 3 of them, they're all the same. Okay? So this is what I'm going to get. Base times height. There you go. That's a triangular prism. Okay, supposing all of the sides of the triangle are the same. Now, please do tell me later on if you get to an exercise, the one at the page I'm looking at, they are all equilateral. If they're not, then that's a bit different, and we'll have a look at that one again. But this is just revision from yesterday. Okay?